Hello everyone. Today I'm going to be talking about something a bit different than I usually do. I usually talk about Path of Exile and Path of Exile 1. I've talked about Last Epoch a little bit on this channel, but I don't usually go into it because it's not my favorite ARPG, but it's good. It's just not my favorite. There's some pretty big news that released about 10 hours ago, as you can see. Um, the long and short of this post, if you just want to get in and get out, is that 11th Hour Games, the company behind Last Epoch, has been acquired 100% by. Let me scroll down and remember their name. Krafton. Now, if you don't know who Krafton is, it is a publisher that it has pretty deep pockets. So this acquisition is something that Last Epoch has been looking forward to doing and being able to acquire a bit more funds for their game. But it is an 100% buyout, meaning that Krafton now basically owns 11th Hour Games, or 11th Hour Games is a subsidiary now of Krafton. That could be a problem, could not be. I'll get into that later. But what Krafton is known for is their biggest success has been PUBG, or Players Unknown Battleground Royale, and I think they also were behind Subnautica and Subnautica 2, which actually they're in a lawsuit for right now because apparently they promised something along the lines of promising $250 million to the devs of Subnautica 2 for getting it into a early access release state soon enough within this year, but then they fired everybody and said it wasn't soon enough, even though apparently the company behind Subnautica 2 was saying that it was ready and they were going to release it. So there's a big legal battle around that. No idea. I haven't really gone too far into that. But anyway, Krafton is the people behind that, and now they are going to be the publishers for 11th Hour Games. They were also the company behind Terra, an old MMO that has long since been defunct and had a lot of monetary issues. So, as far as I know, Krafton hasn't had the best record of keeping games not monetarily suffocated, I guess is a good way of saying it, or just like they're not very good at maintaining games where they don't try and increase the monetization on them in some form or fashion that usually isn't well liked by the player base behind that game. We don't know what's going to happen with Last Epoch. It could just be a grinding gear game situation where they were bought out by Tencent, but then Tencent was kind of very hands off and allows GGG to do their own thing for the most part. I know there's some controversy around that. Are they or are they not actually telling them what to do? But if you're listening to what Jonathan Rogers and co talk about, they usually say that Tencent is very hands off for the most part, other than like in China, of course, because that's their neck of the woods and they would know better how to monetize for China. But for the rest of the world, Tencent is very hands off and lets GGG do it. So the best case scenario is that's what happens. That Krafton just allows EHG, 11th Hour Games, to do their thing with Last Epoch, just with more money behind them. Awesome. That's the best case scenario. They're basically just another version of GGG where they get to do their own thing and everything's fantastic. But there is a definite possibility that Krafton doesn't do that, since they have much more of a history of going into games. And you can come to this. I'm not going to read this post. This is a post by MoxJet, one of the game director. And I'm just showing this as like context for the screen. But so if you want to come here and read this, you can. I'm not going to read it off verbatim, but you can read it. I will leave a link in the description below. Anyway, it's just concerning because Krafton has much more of a history of messing with the games they have and messing with their monetization, whereas Tencent has a history of a pretty well-known history of for the most part. I'm sure there's some outliers, but for the most part, kind of being hands-off with the studios they have and the games they have. They're very hands-off typically with the game devs. So we have a history of saying, oh, okay, well, Tencent, yes, they buy things and they have a hand in a lot of different pots, but for the most part, they don't really interact with the games that they do, because they even have a hand in like Riot Games, or not even a hand. They own Riot Games, I'm fairly certain. But regardless, Krafton is completely opposite. They have a well-known track record of not being hands-off. They have a well-known track record of going into games and messing with the monetization and messing with the game's vision. And now that EHG is fully owned by Krafton, they have no, like, if Krafton wants EHG to do something or put something in, EHG might not have the availability to say no, and that's kind of a problem. Now, we can all hope that that doesn't happen and they're able to maintain their vision for the game and that Krafton doesn't want them to add anything weird. So there's no real, like, 5 alarm, like, system right now. You don't need to set off every alarm ever. It's just a concerning move. It's not necessarily a move I would say is concerning right now, but it did warrant a video to say that this is something that's happening. And you can kind of take that where you want, I would say. For me personally, I don't really like the move just because of all the controversy they're in and the track record of games they do have. While PUBG is a successful game, Krafton does have a history of messing with their games, and 11th Hour Games is beloved, and Krafton only wanting money out of the game, especially if the game doesn't continue to do well, which it will. I have no doubt that 11th Hour Games will push out great updates still, and it'll continue to do well and continue to push out numbers for as long as 11th Hour Games' vision is maintained. But it's that X factor now of, well, can they maintain it? Are they going to, or is Krafton going to put their hand in the cookie jar and essentially say, hey, you're not making enough money, so we're going to make some changes. And while 11th Hour Games and Last Epoch was growing, I don't think it was growing fast, per se. It was still a niche game, even in the ARPG genre. I mean, it was pretty popular, don't get me wrong, but like it was still a niche game overall compared to a lot of other games. It got a lot of traction in its last update, but it fell off quick, just like most RPGs do. But that's neither here nor there. I'm just saying the end all be all here is that they've been fully acquired by Krafton, and as far as I know, Krafton doesn't have any other RPGs under their belt, so maybe they're going to be hands off with this. We can hope that that's what they're going to do. That's what I hope, and I hope 11th Hour Games all the best. I don't wish anything bad for them, and I genuinely hope this is everything they want and everything they get everything they need, and they're able to hire more people, and we can get regular updates that are amazing from them, just like they've always done, and nothing changes. They just get more money and more availability. There's a worry now that could change. I would not drop the game just because of this. That is silly. If you get mad at them for this, in my personal opinion, that's silly, because there's no telling what's going to happen in the future now. It just adds a little bit of uncertainty. That's it. It doesn't make 11th Hour Games or Last Epoch a bad game or a bad company. It just means things are changing, and we don't know. Well, whereas before we could kind of map our trajectory of how things were going to go, now we kind of can't. There's a bit of uncertainty there. Where are they going to add more monetization? Are they not? I don't know. And I'm not usually the guy to cover this, but this was big news in the RPG genre, so I feel like I needed to put it on our thing. They are also hiring, I guess, and the release date of the next season is on August 21st, which I think most people knew, but anyway. That's this video. I appreciate anybody who stayed to watch. Tell me your opinions in the comments. If you like what I do here, like the other videos I have, then please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps. Every little subscriber means the world to me, and I'm trying to get this channel off the ground. Just trying to, get better at doing this. I don't have a lot of good tools yet. I'm working off of a Logitech webcam and this terrible headset mic. So, yeah, eventually I'll upgrade, but for now I can't do that. That's neither here nor there. I'm rambling now. Peace out, guys. Have a great night.